Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. In the last half hour, we heard from the Department of Justice and Minneapolis city leaders on a newly approved federal oversight plan for the Minneapolis Police Department.
The city council signed off on the consent decree unanimously in the last couple of hours, which requires police reforms deemed necessary in the wake of George Floyd's murder. Lou Raguse joins us now with the details of today's agreement. Lou?
Yeah, Julie and Rena, as we speak, the Assistant U.S. Attorney General and Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara are laying out what's included in this consent decree, which is essentially a 170-page document that lays out rules that MPD officers must follow as they do their jobs. Here's a few of the highlights that I was able to find just with a first look at the decree. Regarding use of force, neck restraints and chokeholds are banned. That's something that MPD had already done. All officers who carry a gun must also carry a less lethal weapon that they've been trained to use. Other officers who witness an improper use of force must intervene or else face the same discipline as the officer using improper use of force. Concerning traffic stops, officers cannot make traffic stops for things like expired registration, damaged headlights or mirrors, or for failing to change lanes. And another thing, at protests or other so-called First Amendment events. That's an entire section in the consent decree labeled First Amendment events. Officers are not allowed to be undercover or hide their badges. And if they're asked, they'll have to confirm that they are MPD officers. They also cannot respond in riot gear unless the situation escalates to something threatening widespread property damage or injury to officer or others. Now, some of these things, like I mentioned, the neck restraint chokehold ban, have already been implemented because the state of Minnesota already handed down its version of a consent decree, and MPD has been working to make changes to comply with that. They say that they'll start working to put these things into place as soon as possible, and there'll be an independent monitor who's in charge of making sure that MPD are following these rules, and then a federal judge will oversee it so that the judge will have the power to enforce if these things are not being followed. And so that's the press conference is still ongoing right now with all the leaders, and we'll have more information on it coming up at 6 o'clock.
Ooh, a lot of information that you just received. Nice job. Thank you, Lou. Much more, as Lou said, coming up later tonight.